Welcome to Fun Fresh Fridays. I hope you're all well today on this wonderful, day, Saturday for us, Friday for you people over in the States. Yes, as you can see, I am here on my lonesome today. I am doing the show on my own because Zanetta had other commitments. So I hope you don't mind that I will be here entertaining you. And of course, today we have a great conversational topic, I guess. And feel free to comment, feel free to voice your opinion, share your opinion wherever you are. But if you are watching, hello. And hello to Zanetta if you're watching out there as well. And please, 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 please show us some love, send some hearts, hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching it on the replay. So today's topic is all about hugs. Yes, hugs, hugs, hugs. The benefits of hugs. And, there's so much to be said about hugs, I think. Personally, I am a real hugger. I love hugs. I come from a family who is very huggy, touchy-feely, and we love hugging. And who do we have here? Hi. Oh, my. Good to see you, Dishona D. How are you? Good to see you. How are you? I hear you are having a great time there in Virginia. A shout out to everyone in Virginia or wherever else you are in the States. But hugs. Are you a hugger, D? Let us know. Or anyone out there. Are you a hugger? Do you love hugging? Or are you more into the handshake? I know things have changed quite a lot since we have had, particularly the last 2 years with COVID, all this, distancing, social distancing has, not been, not very helpful, I guess, for those that are huggers. For those that, don't hug, I think it suited them quite fine. But I think with, not being able to connect physically like that, it has definitely put a lot of strain on us emotionally and physically as well. But hugging, what can we say about hugging? So I guess I wanted to break it down and see, are you a hug type of person, or, when you meet someone, a friend, family, or do you just give a handshake, a kind handshake? Or, is that something that you feel, is culturally correct, or is what you're comfortable with? Because it turns out that hugging can be actually very healing, and it does have a lot of benefits. Okay. And we all know that hugs, during hard times, if we're sad, we kind of reach out and want to hug someone to comfort them, whether, if it's just a regular part of the day, where you feel happy and you feel like you want to hug, or for some people, they don't. Whatever the case may be, hugs actually heal and have a lot of benefits. They increase, happy hormones in us. Excuse me. I have a little bit of a tickle in my throat. I think I've been talking so much in the last couple of days that my throat is going a little. But yeah, hugs. I know personally myself, I am a big hugger. I come from a Italian background, so anyone who is Italian and can relate to this, or has Italian friends, or grew up in a Italian environment, people, not only Italians, obviously there's other nationalities, but the European way is to hug and kiss when you greet someone. And I must say, I was sharing this with a friend where, even now, like, I wake up because I live with my parents at the moment because I'm caring for them as well. So I wake up, and when I, greet them in the morning, I hug them, I kiss them, and I hug them. At nighttime before I go to bed, I hug them and I kiss them. And, that's just something that I have actually grown up with. When I lived in Italy and, spent quite a number of years in Italy, I was there for 7 years. Even though it kind of was inbred in me, the hugs weren't only with family members, okay, or with close friends. They could also be with they could also be with people that you just met. You would just not so much hug them in a huggy way, but kiss them. So our connection would be of kissing. And who do we have here? Titania. Hi, beautiful. Sending me big hugs. Thank you. Sending you big hugs too. So let us know. Let us know if you want to join. As you know, we're talking about hugs, and of course, you come from a European family too, so you can definitely relate with me about this. So hugs are very important, connecting, having that, physical touch. Now, of course, hugging is part of the 5 love languages that I think a lot of people know of, that we all express love in different ways. Now, hugging, or the physical, touch in that 5 love languages doesn't mean sex. Okay, I really like to reiterate that, because that's something different. Hugs and reaching out and giving a hug because you simply want to give a hug, you want to give a gift, because it is a gift. When you hug someone, it's actually life-giving. You actually increase the serotonin. You actually increase the serotonin to it. I'm just messaging to Tanya. She says she wants to join in, talk, and be part of it for a short while. Yes, absolutely, you can. So when we hug, there's this healing powers that we actually exchange in energy. And what are these healing powers? What are these healing energies? Well, scientists say that giving another person a hug will support through, like hugging them reduces stress. It actually reduces stress. It can be very comforting. It can reduce stress in another person. Okay, so actually they've done a lot of studies on this. And what they did in one study of 20 heterosexual couples, men were given unpleasant electric shocks. During the shocks, each woman held the arm of their partner. Now, apparently, believe it or not, researchers found that the parts of each woman's brain associated with stress showed reduced activity, while those parts associated with the rewards of maternal behavior showed more activity. When we hug someone to comfort them, these parts of our brains may show a similar response. So, having said that, that's really, really interesting how a hug can actually generate such healing powers. Hi, Zanetta. How are you? Thanks for popping in. Thanks for popping in. I hope you're really well in your travels. Yeah, so hugs, please let us know about your hugs. Are you a hugger, Zanetta? I think you are. I think you've shared that before, that you are. But hugs, what can I say? There's so much to be said about hugs. What else They actually say that hugs actually protect us against illnesses. Now, I know, I mean, my dad, hasn't been too well of late, and he's a real hugger. I think I get that from him. And, you know, I know that when I'm reaching out to him to help him, with his stress of pain in his body, I know that it just lights him up by just having that hug. And, um, you know, we feel safe, we feel secure, we feel heard. And sometimes connecting with, when we are connecting through a hug, you don't necessarily need a lot of words. You don't, because when you're hugging from a place of love, when you're hugging from a place of authenticity, a place that you are giving because you know that you may not know what to say at that given moment, but you know that that hug is like, I'm here for you. It speaks 1,000 words. You don't need to speak when you're hugging and comforting someone. And sometimes too, in relationships, I think we can hug just because we want to. We can hug to share and express caring for that person. We can hug and express that we are present. We love you. I love you, without really saying I love you. Because I know, for some people, it's hard to say I love you. I know I don't have a problem with saying the big love word. But I I feel that sometimes some people find that a little uncomfortable. So just reaching out and hugging before you get uh, strong enough to say the I love you word can actually help. But I do have the lovely Titania who's joining me. Let me put her on. She surprised me. I didn't think she'd come on. Hello, Titania.
Hi,
Tatiana. I get it wrong. I always say my own version.
here's my
Hug.
hug.
Yes, hug. Oh my God. I love hugs. I love hugs. And I know you're a big hugger as well, being from your European background.
Yes, definitely, definitely. How, for me, hugs was something that I need to reintroduce actually in my family because it was kind of forgotten because it's kind of like in the morning you'd have like the rush, you know how you're saying, but now it's been, well, quite a few years going back now that I am making that effort and it's like, no, 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 let's just stop, hug first, and then
Yeah,
carry on with the day, because it's a little thing, but it does do a lot. And what you were saying about the studies, about it helping maintaining your health, it definitely does. Um, it's actually quite crucial that we should maintain it. How many 20 hugs a day needed to actually stay in a good, positive, healthy state, isn't it?
yeah. No, it's actually, I think I did one research and it said it was 10 hugs a day,
10,
minimum of
sorry.
10 hugs a day to actually stay healthy, believe it or not. It actually, increases, the serotonin in your body, happy hormones. In fact, just before coming up and joining, starting on the live, I went up to my mum and said, we just passed each other like this. I said, Mum, and she looked over and turned. She said, what's up? And I said, hug me. I want to hug. She goes, okay. And my mum's tiny, like I'm nearly 6 foot, right? Well, I am 6 foot. And she's like half my size. My dad's tall. So when I embrace her, I literally have to bend my knees and come right down into her. And she's like up like this with her neck and up her arms like this. So it's just beautiful. And I think too, a mother's hug is just amazing, isn't it? Like and my mum's, the typical Italian mama. She's short and cuddly, kind of round. And she's just got so much to hug. But yeah, for me, it's just I love it. I love it. It's so healing, it's so comforting, it's so soothing, and it just, changes your state instantly.
Oh, 1,000%. Well, I went out last night. Well, actually, I went to the airport to pick up my friend
Mhm.
who I hadn't seen. And as you say, like we were just, at the airport, when we pick up the pickup point, got out of the car and literally, it was almost like we lifted each other with our hugs. So it was
No.
beautiful. Yes, yes. So, and then thereafter, I went to do some salsa dancing and
Oh,
we
yeah,
chatted.
no, you did. I
Yeah,
know you did. I know you'd invited me, but I just had so
yeah.
much on, so I thought,
Oh, you did, you did.
"I'll join you
Like
tonight." What was
this.
it like? Was it good?
It was great. It was great. And the beautiful thing about it, you come in, that is the greeting. It's very
Yes.
rarely do you just get hi, hi. It is
Yeah.
very huggy. I love it. Like I get to see, sometimes I get to see people that I haven't seen for, like, quite a few weeks or maybe a couple months. And it's just really good to reconnect. And yeah, so it was just really beautiful. Doesn't matter. There's one lady that I see every other day, and the hugs are identical to the ones that are, the longer time spent apart, because it's
Yes.
still, like, you really do express your love if you want
Yes.
to, you know
Yes.
so it is a love, it is an appreciation, it's everything. Hug can speak so many different words. i love
Mm.
i love hugs.
Yes, and messages as well. And sometimes too, you can really know when it's a real hug and not a real hug, wouldn't you say?
Oh
Like, have
yes,
you ever,
yeah.
have you ever experienced a hug where, yeah, you're being patted like a dog? Yeah, definitely. And they can feel somewhat a little awkward too, don't you think? Like they're just because it's just energy. You're transferring energy with that person when you're hugging, and you can, especially if you're, sensory acuity, and you're kinesthetic, you will feel even more so that that hug is not real. It's actually, it hurts, somewhat hurts in a way, because it's just like electric shock, maybe, right? Would you
It
say?
is. Well, I wonder whether, your viewers, when they see the live, or, when was the last time that they hugged? It would be really interesting to see a real hearty, like a big bear hug. When was the
Mhm.
last time they had that? And what was the feeling that they had? Because it does, like, you get a sense, as you say, it's a passing of your energy. You do get a sense of a beautiful, warm feeling. It's just transfers through all, like, I feel it, like it's, you can hear each other's heart. And there was the other thing that I don't know whether you've heard of this, that it's really also important is how you hug as well, so that
Mm.
your heart to heart hugs, have you heard of that?
No,
Where you,
please share.
when you hug each other, whatever, so you might go in a particular direction, right?
Yes, yeah.
But what's really important is, if you really want to connect with that person, is that you go with your left to their left, so that
Oh,
your hearts actually connect.
oh,
So
there you go. That makes
yeah,
sense.
so then it's like a heart connection hug, not
Mhm.
just that, just getting the embrace.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, wow. And there is, so therefore there would be you know, um, a heart transference of energy transferring through
And
both hearts. Yeah.
there's another thing as well, and then to add on to that, is that the longer you hold the hug, the
Mm,
more intensity and the more value it brings to you. So, for example, a quick hug, yeah, but like a good 20-second hug where you
mm.
are together breathing with that person. Your hearts are literally beating and meeting each other with the beats is the key. So that's something that I've also read, and I tend to do it with my brother's kids when they come from school, when if they come over, and I'm like, heart hug, and they know to go
Yeah.
with the heart on the same side. And then
Uh-huh.
sometimes, for kids, it's awkward to stay there for 20 seconds. And I'm like, how many more
I know.
seconds?
Especially for a child, right? It's like, "You're squeezing me too hard. It's too long." Well, what's up with that, you know?
15, 16, 17, 20. They
Exactly.
make me laugh. But, like, it's good to teach them these things. And then, you know, if you do it enough, then they'll be like, okay, time for hugs. Let's count.
Mm, mm.
But,
And
like,
and
yeah.
sorry? Yes.
It was a connection. Just remember that. So maybe see how long you do it, even without thinking, with your mom and dad in the mornings.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I usually do. I know I do that all the time. But yeah, sometimes, when you're hugging someone that's a little bit frail, like you feel like you might
Yes.
be squeezing them too hard. But
My mom will
definitely,
say that. My mom will say that. She's like, "Hey," it's like, "Oh,
if you're squeezing too hard,
I have to be careful." Not that she's frail, but she'll
yeah,
tell me. She's like, "Hey, I'm getting older. Don't squeeze so
so
much."
hard. Exactly, exactly. And what about when it comes to, because you don't do you hug complete strangers? What do you do there? Like, is that is there rules? Is there cultural things? Because that's all comes into play as well. Because you may say for example in Australia, okay,
Mm,
the Anglo-Saxon, you know, average person that didn't grow up in a very huggy environment and not even agree so much, like we're just kissy huggy all over, okay? But and I've had relationships with men that have not been like that. Like, and I'm going, oh my God, this is just absolutely killing me to not have that big squeeze and hug and everything. How difficult is that? And is it something that we can train people? I know you said you're reintroducing that into your family. I definitely, if I'm into someone and they're not really that huggy, I will definitely introduce it. But sometimes it's not in people. Like they just feel very uncomfortable, or
yeah.
it's just they don't remember. It's a habit. It's also habitual, to be.
Well, I learned, and I kind of like the I approach it because I heard it a few times, and it's happened either if I've done some sort of like a group thing, like either been in a seminar or somewhere like in a dance festival, because I tend to do those a lot. And then the person that actually, let's say I'm introduced to Stefania, and then Stefania will say, "You know what? We don't handshake here, we hug." And then you just kind of like, and then they open up their arms and you just kind of you fall into the hug. So I tend to do that as well, especially if somebody introduces, like let's say you introduce me to a very good friend of yours, and it's like,
Mhm.
come over here. It's almost
Yeah,
like, it depends. You can kind of like sense the level of, I mean, I suppose you need to be really very present and just observe maybe the eye contact and just their body language to see how far can you take it. Because some people are just literally just, they don't even say their name. That's the other thing, when you're meeting somebody, it's kind of like stepping away from hugging. But, it's like, you want to introduce somebody and they won't say, "Hi, I'm Tatiana." They'll say, "Hi." And then you kind of like have to probe them. It's like, "How are you?" Or some people will come up and introduce themselves with a kiss on both cheeks. So
right.
it's just, I think it's obviously a characteristic of each person. So then you
Mm,
just need to. It's kind of like, depending on what conversation you want to raise. You can't talk about everything with everyone. So I
yeah,
think hugging is the same. You can't hug everyone the way you hug your your people in your life currently. So I think
yeah,
it's a, you can, if that's who you are, you can always introduce it through conversation and say, "I am so touchy feely, I'm," and when I talk, I'm always like, like you'll talk to someone and I'll be like,
yeah,
"Oh my God," they'll say something funny and I'll like pat them on the shoulder, or
yeah,
I'm like, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happened," and I'll be like, "Let me just tell you something," and I'll
yeah.
grab
To
them by
grab
the
their
arm.
attention, like you're
Yeah, no,
touchy,
thank you.
really like that.
And it's
Yeah.
almost like, I gotta tell you this with intensity. This is not just like blah blah, whatever. So I'm like that. I'm very touchy feely when it comes to it, but in a way, not to enter their, how can I say? I'm also very conscious not to enter their personal space if they feel too weird. Um, so it's very, it'll be, there will be always something, either top of the hand, somewhere around the elbow, or it's, like a punch. It's like too
Mm,
funny. Kind of like with some, especially with guys, because sometimes you do need to draw the line there, because it can, just like we talked previously, it can be seen as potentially flattery, and you're just being you.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Because it's I guess it's an interpretation as well. And if you do have like a bit of a European, tendency of just reaching out and hugging and kissing to someone that's not used to that, like Anglo-Saxon, it can be quite foreign, and they can, just some can even get offended. It's just it'll even in the Middle East cultures as well. I don't think they're like that huggy kissy with people they don't know. Obviously, maybe with themselves. But the other one that I really wanted to talk about was men hugging. Genuinely, this is again in Italy. This is so prevalent. Big men will reach out and give that, real male hug, and they kiss each other. Is this like kind of peck on the cheek? That's not. I don't think it's even connecting lips on the cheek. It's kind of this cheek rub, because that's what they do, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's normal. That's what men do over there. Whereas here, it's just like, oh, it's so foreign. But now I've noticed the guys, particularly here in Australia, they do give that kind of bear hug. They do give that kind of embrace of, you're my mate, you're my friend, you're with me, I've got your back, or
Yes,
something like
yes, 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 yes.
that. Zanetta says the Philippines too. Yeah. Because Philippines, I think they, because
Very
they,
warm. I
yeah.
see that it's very warm and very connected, very family oriented. So definitely would 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 exist there. I have a lot of Filipino friends, and yes, there is a lot of hugging.
Mm,
When we see each other out, social dancing. The one, but then, as I said, because we formed that, maybe because we dance sometimes in a hug,
yes.
like you close hold, like a waltz kind of, if the viewers can imagine, like a waltz kind of pose. So you're already there, like there's so much connection, arm connection. So then, I mean, I always finish my dances with a hug with everybody and a thank
Yes.
you. So thank you
Yes.
for the dance. Thank you so much. Hug,
Yes.
walk away. And it's genuine. Like I never just do it just because. It's always
Yes.
very genuine. So yeah.
Yeah, me
Because
too.
yeah,
I
you
must
spend
say
this
that.
time. Yeah, it's a conversation. You spend a bit of yes, it's dancing, but it's kind of like having a little chat. Thanks for your
Yes.
time. Move on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
going back to the man hug, there's nothing gay about that at all. Because, some guys think, oh, that's just gay. That's just like, it doesn't exist. But I think things are turning
yeah.
now. Things are changing.
More and more. Yes, you see the whole, the man and then chest kind of like, they
Yeah.
do that sort of like, like the arm wrestle kind of like hold, and then they
Yes.
kind of like grab the hand and then kind of like chest.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
chest kind of. So
Yeah.
that's what I see. In my family, like like it's generally the hugs and the kisses come more special occasion. But
Hmm.
greeting, if let's say we have visitors, it'll be a handshake.
Hmm.
That's how I see the men
Hmm.
walking through, like if it's like my uncles or like family friends, males, my dad with them will be a handshake. The women will definitely kiss, sometimes hug, depending. Yeah, so I think it's just like, yeah, as I said, it matches the personality or the connection that you have with that person.
Mm, mm, mm,
That's
mm.
how I see it. I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
That's how you see it. Did
But
you know?
I've
Sorry.
observed it. That's how I've observed it. Like from I'm just kind of like recollecting now, thinking who's been lost in our house and how did it happen. So I'm just kind of like really giving you this is like feedback from just maybe a few weeks ago when or last week when somebody came over. It was like that handshake, the men,
Yeah,
and kiss hug the women.
the women. So tell me, is that in Australia? What are they like in Europe, in Serbia?
In Serbia and in Macedonia, same, same. Same.
Same.
And the
There's
younger
not a lot
ones,
of male hugging. There's not a lot
the
of
male
hugging.
hugging, it's that thing that I said, that sort of like
Yeah.
arm wrestle, kind of like that, the
Mhm.
chest thing, every now and again. But it's very kind of like, it's almost like, yeah, I want to hug you, but hey, we'll just do like 1 second hug. It's
Uh-huh.
still kind of like we're still men, like it's still a macho thing. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
how now I'm just kind of like reviewing my films, from just experiences, just kind of like going back to witness what I've witnessed over there. That's how it is. The women, definitely, there's more connection woman to woman than there is man to man.
It must be more that nurturing thing that, us
Yeah.
females, that maternal connection that we have. But on the healing, the benefits of a hug. What are the benefits of a hug? I said we talked about, the healing power of transmuting love and comforting and security and making that person feel safe. But did you know it actually helps reduce your if you've got high blood pressure? And it can, and so in actual fact, it actually boosts your heart health,
Yeah.
reducing your blood pressure. They actually did a test, again, more scientific test. And this whole thing that you said about the 20-second hug, right? They actually had a group of about 200 adults into two groups, right? And what they did, one group had a romantic partner hold hands for 10 minutes, followed by a 20-second hug with each other. The other group had a romantic partner who sat in silence for 10 minutes and 20 seconds. Interesting, huh? People in the first group showed greater reduction in blood pressure levels and heart rate than the second group. So it's definitely, according to these findings, that an affectionate relationship can actually give you a healthy heart. Now, having said that, me being the analytical and like to visualize and dissect situations, I have actually noted that in some relationships, like where people in relationships that don't have a very healthy relationship but still remain together actually have heart problems in one
Mm.
shape or form. Yes. And this is not judgment, this is just a total observation. And one particular couple, I mean, they were an older couple, a gentleman, he was probably about not even 80, probably 77 when he passed. And he died of a heart attack. And I know for a fact that their relationship was not a healthy one, or it wasn't a healthy one in the sense that there was just the love flow had stopped, maybe had done for many years, probably was good in their earlier life, but something was just not flowing in the love section. And yeah, he actually died. Is that a coincidence? Is that got something to do with, the heart coherence when not receiving love? I mean, this is, we talk about pandemics, right? The virus, COVID-19 and everything. I know that's taboo. We can't be saying those words, but this is like love, absence of love, absence of hugging and touching and connecting. That in itself is a pandemic, can be causing a lot of illness.
Well, energy can be positive and negative, as we know, and we are all energy. I know it's something that a concept that I've been learning for many years now, and it was really hard for me to understand. And even sometimes when I fall into my ignorant self, a day that I'm not using my intellect to the fullest, that that thought escapes me to understand that we are energy. So it's what energy are we exuding,
Mm.
and who are we hanging around with, and what kind of influence can we make with those with whom we hang around, so that staying on a higher level of energy obviously heightens our the vibration. And one of the highest vibrations, as we know, is love. So
Mhm.
the higher you are on the scale of the different levels of, you might have seen the scale of different emotions. as
Yes.
anything on the vibrating scale. So
Mhm.
like the lowest would be like doubt and fear,
Yeah.
fear being very last. Yes.
Yeah.
And then moving through doubt, through uncertainty and whatever, and then building into, joy and bliss and love, right? So you've got, there's about 20 different ones, or maybe even more. Sorry if I'm
Yeah.
not quoting the number.
I've got the scale here actually.
You get the scale, yes? Oh, very good. Yeah, so so the higher you are, one, you attract that same thing, so then you are exuding what that same level, so the lower energy can't even get to you. So
Mm.
therefore, you will stay healthier. You will stay on a different high. I mean, it's no coincidence when people say I'm on a high, because you are high, and therefore, there's more happiness. So when you are happier, you attract more people, and in turn, you welcome people into having either a virtual or just like a telepathic or actual physical hugging. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like when you see some, I mean, it happens to me a lot because I feel so comfortable to do that with people. When I see them in that state, you kind of go almost like, oh, I just want to hug you, like hi, like it's, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
almost like when they're at that state, you feel welcoming to actually enter that space of theirs, and entering their space means to me hugging them.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like the, green flag to say, or the white flag to say it's safe. I'm offering a safe space as well.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because hugs can be contagious, like smiles, when walk
Yes.
past someone and you just smile. I mean, some people like, oh, what's wrong with her? Like she's smiling to herself.
Mm.
Well, no, I'm smiling at you and just I'm happy. And people just, they're not used to it. They're just not used to it. But yeah, it's this transference of energy. It's this transference of a beautiful frequency of love. It is. And
Yes,
it's
and even
so,
if you're sad, when somebody hugs you, there is that split second that you do believe there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is hope. There is a relief in that one split second, even if, let's say, you're going through something hard, like
mm,
some hard experience, and somebody hugs you, you have that moment, like that glimmer of hope that everything will be okay. So
yeah.
you can kind of give your mind like another, you can kind of change the pattern rather than maybe staying in your sorrow and in that heavy feeling.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
yeah.
Tell me. Go ahead.
Good morning from India. I'm just reading this.
Oh,
My rules. What is your name?
my rules. Good morning from India.
India.
Indy, he says. India. Good morning to you. How early is it in India? I know they're 3 hours behind us, I think. Three,
Probably about
three
8 o'clock, 8 a.m.
Yes.
Probably, yeah.
Yes. So here the healing powers of a hug. Now, what about um, hugs where um, they're just hugs out of nowhere in relationships? How healing are they? Can you hug too much? That's the other thing too. Can you be too much of a hugger?
No.
Is there such a thing? For me, no. It's like the more I get, the better it is. The more I give, the better I feel as well.
Yeah.
Because not only do I like receiving hugs, I like giving them. And I think if you like to receive them and you're not very good at giving them, just I think stepping out of your comfort zone and giving them can be just as much of a gift as receiving them, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. 100%. Um, but we're definitely going back to and going back to healing, and going back to, I think that people should definitely experience and experiment with, and see how do their friends react to them giving them the hugs. How long are they lasting for? They should really kind of like assess and give it, like do a little, like a weekly experiment, and see how many hugs did they get for the week, how many did they give? Was it
Yeah.
necessary? Did they have to ask for it? Like it's would be interesting to see whether they needed to invite the person or remind them. Like you said, sometimes you're like, Mom, Mom, you forgot to do something.
Yeah, I think the question you asked earlier was, have you received your hug today and how did it feel and did you have to ask for it? So let's put that out there for any of the listeners that are listening at the moment. Just join us and let us know. Are you a huggy person? Do you have to ask for hugs? Do you
Well,
give
I'll
them?
put my hand up. I didn't get my hugs this morning.
You didn't?
I'd get it was kind of like a high five with a hold
Yes.
because I was doing something, and like my mom was passing me, and I'm like, okay, now I have to go now because it already came to this time. They were kind of like doing their own thing in the morning. We didn't really see each other i- um, enough to actually do that. And I said,
Mm.
okay, I'll come back to you later.
Ah,
So no, I didn't say that I'm going to come back to them for the hugs, but the hugs definitely come. My dad very much, he kind of like, he doesn't accept hugs. He kind of goes like this.
freezes.
Then I kind of hug him around that freezy. But you know what he likes to do? He likes to kind of like lean with the head.
Oh, does
It's a
he?
thing. Yes. So it'll be like that.
Oh, that kind of nurturing feeling, nurtured.
But I'm not allowed to like if I say something, if I say thank you, like he'll make me a sandwich or he'll do something and I'm like and he'll get all shy. Like he literally I'll be like, Dad, thank you. Oh my God, God bless you, or something like that. And he'll be like, like
Oh.
I'll get to hug him and he'll be like, oh, here we go. She's coming.
It's time for the hug. I got to get ready for this. I got to get ready for this, right? That's
That's how I
funny.
feel. My mom is like, I'm frail now. I'm getting old. So it's really funny. But then there would be a time that I'm doing something and she'll come and give me the hug. So it's
Oh,
really
really?
interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so
Mm.
it's very unpredictable how it happens in my house.
Oh,
It's not
wow.
like you have your pattern. You wake
Yeah,
up, yeah. Whereas for me, it's kind of like a mix of things every day. It's very unusual. I don't know what it is. Whether
yeah,
is it something like are they looking as to how I mean I wake up with a smile on my face. I've been told that that's how I look. Like when I sleep, I'm always like with a content kind of a look on my
yeah.
face. So I don't know whether is it something that, like, will somebody determine, like you have a pattern. So there's a habit every morning. So it doesn't
Mm.
matter even if you're like grumpy or happy or whatever, the hug comes no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm going to ask my parents later and see, is it, are they kind of like going, oh, is she in the mood for the hug? Are they judging? Should they or shouldn't? So I'm going to actually find out because the pattern is different. As I said, sometimes it's kind of like just a little high five, or sometimes I'll get a little, my mom will just kind of like
Yes.
pat me on my face and
Yeah,
like a little caress, whatever. And then that'll be it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Mom, give me a hug. Or,
See? You're just
yeah,
teasing me.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very different. That's what I'm saying. And maybe that's good. Maybe
Mm,
it may be, just in case if we overhug, like what you said, too much, what if we just make it like a mechanical thing
mm.
and then
Well,
it loses its meaning,
yeah.
intensity?
So I think, yeah, well, my intensity of my hugs definitely change each time because obviously it depends on how I feel a little bit too, because I'm
Yes.
pretty much a very happy person. In the mornings, I wake up. So in fact, I've been told I'm painfully too happy in the mornings. Like I remember
Yeah.
one time when I was living overseas and I used to share house with another female, another woman, and she used to say, because I could get up and I'd be up early going to the gym and be talk, and I had no one really to talk to apart from her in the mornings. And she goes, "You talk too much." She goes, "Can't you just tone it down a little bit? You're just too much in the morning." I was like it just surprised me one time when I think she put up with me for a while and then she just blurted it out and said, "You're just too much. You're too overly happy in the mornings." And I went, "Wow, too overly happy." But so, I mean, I'm still am, but again, I will hug or, depending on what position the other
Yes.
person is as well. You've got to, like you said, you've got to read it. But hugging also, the other thing too, when it comes to mental illness, depression, it's so, so good. It actually does help reduce, you know, a certain amount. It doesn't obviously heal, but consistent hugging or exchanging of hugs does help reduce depression as well. So that's another healing, another
Well, I
healing.
mean, depression does is. I mean, obviously, we're not here. We're not medical bodies to actually make these claims as law, I suppose. But um, to fall into a depression, it's because there's a lack of connection.
Mm,
It's something that I've read from a person that had obviously collated some studies that you fall into depression because you're lacking connection. So that makes complete sense because we're not, yes, we are born alone. Some people will say, I was born alone, I will die alone,
mm,
that's not so, I mean, yes, you do come into this life as a one entity, right?
mm.
But we are meant to connect. You
Yeah,
see it from infancy, you know that they need that hug, they need the touch, they need to be held. You have your baby fall asleep on your chest, like next to your heart, so the baby can keep hearing the mother's heart and things like that. The smell, like they'll get used to the actual scent of the parent, the mom and the father, mother and the father. So to kind of like distance, it's almost like we are meant to separate ourselves, that I think it's taken too far. So
yeah,
then it becomes normal, or it becomes normal to be serious, and it becomes normal to be separate. It becomes normal to be disconnected because somebody said it as a regular thing, that it's become a fashion nowadays, that for somebody to be so happy, it's like, what are you on?
yeah.
Or,
What do you
you know,
want?
what's wrong with you? What's with
Yeah,
all these hugs? Like,
yeah,
people will kind of then make something that's actually part of us, natural way of existence. It's now being questioned
yeah.
because we
Sad
are relying on so many other ways of actually receiving virtual versions of.
hugs.
Like I sent to you, like I actually literally, when I sent a little GIF before, or GIF as they call them, in your little post earlier, I there was one that said sending you a virtual hug, and it's like a little progress thing, that like a progress line that says it's complete, it's complete, it's complete now. The hug
Yeah, yeah.
is Stefania.
It's a read.
But
It's a
you know
right.
what? But it's not. I'm not sending you a virtual hug.
No.
I'm I'm hugging you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
then I like a little bear instead. And it's kind of like hugging you. But you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, everything is virtual. Everything is like, oh, there's an alarm. Work. You have to be not a morning person. You have to be grumpy. Why can't you just wake up in the morning and go, great, I'm here. Now let's get on with this. You know,
Yes.
I've had that happen to me because I am happy. I'm a happy person. Of course, there's circumstances that will affect me that I will also react in a not so happy way. I'll be,
Mm. Oh,
I'll
so
put my
no,
hand up
you're
to that.
human.
Yes, I'm human, right? But I am, if you were to describe me, I'm a very positive and happy person, which is what generally people will say. And actually, bringing up to that, I've lost a friend because I was too positive.
Oh. Oh, wow.
That I was too much for them. And I said, well, listen, I actually asked, I said, so what do you want me to do? I go, do you want me to change? Wasn't going to change. But I just asked that question. I said, do you want me to change? Like, who should I be?
Mm.
You know what? They don't have the answer, which is really the quite the mysterious thing. Is like, it's just that they haven't allowed themselves to be so fully self-expressed,
Mm.
that they recognize that that's not like they haven't opened up that door that leads them to this.
Yeah.
It's not like they
Yeah.
don't have it, everybody has it. It's a matter of, do you open the gateway to enter into that space, that realm, or not?
Mm.
So it's just really interesting that we actually went our separate ways, but that
Right.
was the reason. Like she said, exactly what your friend said. You're too much. You're too much.
Woohoo! Just jump out of a box. I don't care. I just think before that I must admit, I used to be affected by that and I used to conform and be, very much, change to other people's opinions. Of course, after you do the work on yourself and you grow and you know,
Yeah.
evolve, you don't worry about that anymore because what actually happens is you are actually reflecting back to them something that they would love to have. Now, two things happen. They either gravitate towards you to, you know, want to learn what are your secrets, or what is it that makes you how and just, really thrive and, bask in that energy that you're exuding, or they run away, they repel, and two things happen. And for whatever reason, because of whatever healing that needs to go on in that person, in your case, she repelled, and so be it. It's just something. It's as you know, it's got nothing to do with you. It's just something that she probably had to work through. But I remember the girlfriend that I spoke to you about that I was living with. She would tell me that I was too much, but she loved it at the same time. Like, she was not a morning person. I had her go into the gym early hours. She probably wouldn't talk to me. She'd say, don't talk to me until I finish my coffee. We'd be, going to the gym, driving to the gym because at the time I had a car there. I was living in Barbados at the time, right? Just blissful life. And she'd say, don't talk to me until I finish my coffee. So I just respected it, you know what I mean? Like, but you may be with a partner, like a real relationship, intimate partner and I know of another friend of mine, she's like that as well. She's really, um, you know, uh, will I say grumpy? No, she just likes to take her time to wake up, have a coffee, not talk to nobody. And her husband, on the other hand, is and he's like bouncing around. And she just tells him, just don't talk to me. And they have this agreement. She's shared it, and so they laugh about it, that I'm not allowed to talk to her for at least 45 minutes after she wakes up. So I got to know from the minute she wakes up as to how, and you'll time it and then play on that and bounce on her, you know what I mean? With, you know, being his happy, jovial self. And it works. It works. For some people it doesn't, some people it does. It's all different, I guess, different strokes for different folks. That's right.
Yeah.
But yeah, hugs, 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 hugs. Well, this is really interesting. What else? What else can you say about a hug? Um, Tatiana, I've got some notes here that I've written. Let me
Yeah.
see.
I mean, hug to me ultimately it's still happiness. So even when I said about sadness and about somebody, you are kind of like a hug does kind of like infuse like a dose of happiness
Mm,
that will start to, like let's say your cup is full of sadness. So if you add a little bit of happiness, it kind of like like you overflow the cup. So the sadness like disappears. Then you add a little bit more of the sadness goes away, a little bit more, another hug, another dose of happiness. Soon enough, your cup will now be just full of happiness because if you allow it. So as you said, it can heal, and I think it not it can, it does heal. So I mean, to me, at the end of the day, it is a must. It should be part of a self care
yeah.
on a daily basis. Just like we take our maybe our lemon water in the morning, or like some stretching exercises in the morning. Hug should be just part of that ritual. I
Mm,
think. I
mm,
think
mm.
yes, because especially we need to definitely reintroduce it because I think especially to be like a figure, like a mother figure or father figure to younger generations. Because I think I'm seeing a lot of like monotonous faces in children. I'm seeing a lot of like blank faces, blank kind of bodies. They kind of like I'm seeing it a lot because I live near a couple of schools. I see the students. Everybody's like,
They
there's
walk.
not a lot of emotion in this. Yes, and I think we need to bring back that reconnection. And what best way to explain reconnection or connection is with a physical representation is a hug.
Mm,
Because like you can easily say. whatever, hi. But like to kind of like that really will be a clear result, a result of what connection is. So I think it's really, really important to keep doing it, keep being the weird one that does it, and then
Yes.
other people will take on. Like it takes one, then brings another and another and
Another,
another, and we
another,
just keep
another.
growing. Yeah. So
Exactly.
it's
Like
really,
what you
really
were sharing with me yesterday, was it, when you said
yes, yeah, that's
you're
right.
at the dance floor and you get the music playing, or in a concert, when there's people are a bit shy and getting up and start bouncing around dancing to music. It just takes one, and then another one will pop up and dance, another one. Before you know it, everyone's like shaking their bodies and going crazy. It's like, okay, everyone else is doing it. So let's reintroduce hugs in our lives. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a little experiment, probably talk about it next time, is ask for hugs today. Like, maybe you may want to do it out there. Anyone who's listening, ask for a hug. Ask for at least, see if you can aim for 10 hugs. See if you can connect with 10 people today and literally ask them for a hug. And an experiment I'm going to do, this is just because I'm a little crazy like that. Even someone I don't know. And just for me, because it's curiosity to see how they respond, um, within like maybe 5 minutes of chatting with them, say, do you mind if I give you a hug? Or do you mind if we hug? And just see, I would love to see, because I've never ever done that before with a complete stranger, what would happen.
I'll take it on.
How about we do that, Tatiana, and we share our results? And because I think that would be just a great research exercise to do with yourself. I mean, what's the worst thing that can happen? They're going to say no, they're going to reject, or or they're going to lean in and say, free hug today. Yeah, it's going to be a free hug. Let's hug. Because you know what? It was really interesting. I'm going to share this with you. I did have someone text me that I know virtually on Facebook, that I haven't really connected. Like, I don't know this person apart from, and he saw my posts about hugs, and I'm not going to mention names. And he said, "Oh, so I'm getting ready for my hug with you." And I said for a joke, I said, "Oh, okay, no problems." And he said, "Yeah." And I said to him, "Well, you might have to be careful, because I love hugs." He goes, "Oh, so do I, so do I." And I said, "Okay, but I might hug you a little too hard. I don't want to hurt you." He goes, "Oh, really?" So it was a little bit of bantering, it was funny. But, it's interesting how people will either lean in or repel from that kind of, and that
Mm.
was online. So, be interesting to see if you're with someone and how that will play out. So, Tatiana, that can be your project exercise, or
Yes.
homework. Both of us can do that. And
Well, I'll
yeah.
come back to your post under this video and I'll report with my
Yes, me
findings.
too. I had 5 people who were willing to hug me today, or I had 0 hugs, or I don't know. Just, I think it'll be really good. And for you viewers out there, if you would love to participate in this and then engage in your results, please do that, because it's just be interesting to see how we do respond to hugs these days, whether it be with someone you know, but not too much. The idea is to reach out and connect with people, because we've just been separated for so long, haven't we?
Yes,
Particularly over the last couple of years, that we need to bring back the love, bring back the connection. Yeah, it'll be fun. We'll see what happens, hey?
I'm up for
Anyway,
that.
I think we'll wrap it up now. I know you have another appointment, and I do too. Thank you, Tatiana, for joining me
Thank you
again.
so much.
2
Thank
days
you
in
for
a
giving
row.
me
This
this
is fun. It's been fun.
chance to enter your space again.
And to all our viewers that have been out there, thank you for joining us on Fun Fresh Fridays. Zanetta, we love you. and we miss you, and we look forward to having you back tomorrow, next week. And I'm not sure what the topic will be. I'm sure Zanetta will have an interesting topic. And of course, any topics that you would like us to talk about, please, let us know, DM us. You can catch us here on our platform or myself at the Gentleman Square. And sending everyone, as always, lots of love and passion. Bye for now. Thanks, Tatiana. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.